Good morning, all. We are discussing the fourth chapter of the history, colonialism, and the Maratha Empire. In the last lecture, we had discussed about the British and the Maratha Empire. In that, we had talked about the British relationship with the Marathas. We discussed about the Anglo-Maratha War. Okay, now we have to move toward the next, and there are only 2 points are remaining from this lesson. Those 2 points today we are going to finish. So now we are going to talk about the Siddhi and the Marathas relationship. So first we should know about this Siddhi. What is mean by Siddhi word? Or so this is the Siddhi is also known as a Siddhi, Habshi, Siddhi, which is an ethnical group inhabiting in India and Pakistan. These are the members are descended from the Bantu peoples of the East African region. Okay, now why I told you this, because after the 15th century the Siddhi they arrived in India from the Abyssinia, which is in Ethiopia, and they established themselves at Janjira. So the first Siddhis are thought to have arrived in India in 628 actually, and several others they followed with the first Arab Islamic conquest and subcontinent in 712 AD. So now they established themselves at Janjira, which is in Maharashtra. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj took over the forts at Tale, Ghosle and Rairi. Now the Siddhi they were alarmed because of this. So in 1671, Maratha army blocked all approaches to Janjira fort. Siddhi agreed to surrender the fort to Marathas, but at the same time extended a hand of friendship to the Mughals and expressed readiness to be their feudatory. Feudatory means a person who hold the land under the condition or the feudal system. So this is one type of the system where the person who try to hold the land. Okay, so now here what they did, now Siddhi they were agreed to surrender to the fort to the Marathas, but at the same time what they did, they extended their hand of friendship with the Mughals. The Mughals agreed to help them. With the help of Mughals, Siddhi successfully repulsed the Maratha army. And here already the Mughals they were opposed. They were opposed to Marathas, and that's why now the Mughals they were also ready to help Siddhi. And because of that, what happened? The Siddhis successfully they were repulsed the Maratha army. Now next to that, Siddhi and the British always help each other against a common enemy, because who was the common enemy here? Maratha. Obviously the Maratha they were the common enemy for the both, for the British as well as for the Siddhi and for the Mughal also. To strengthen the Maratha position against these two, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj began to build a fort on Khanderi Island. The construction work was supervised by Mainak Bhandari. So student, now the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj he wanted to fight against the Siddhi, and that's why he began to build a fort on Khanderi Island. But at the same time, it was actually supervised by the Mainak Bhandari, but at the same time the British officer Hughes he wanted to shut down the construction. So he tried to shut down the construction, he tried to stop the construction, and for that what he did, he stopped the supplies to the site. He didn't supply to the site. The British had to face strong opposition from the Mainak Bhandari and Daulat Khan, the chief of Maratha Navy. They seized the British ships and captured a number of British officers. The British deployed one big steamship and even small ships. 40 to 50 small ships to the Marathas bravely confronted the British ships. In the end, the British were forced to beat a retreat from the vicinity of Khanderi. Now here the Siddhi, it was getting difficult for the Siddhi to oppose the Maratha, and hence Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, he decided. So at that point, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, he decided to restraint, he decided to plan, to move, to establish a campaign against Siddhi. Now Siddhi was driven to despair because of the repeated attacks by the Marathas in the vicinity of Underi, Apte, Nagothane and Zanjira. So the Marathas, they were attacking continuously, and that's why the Siddhi, they were got disturbed, and they wanted to fight against the Marathas. So student, here there was a treaty between the Siddhi and the Marathas. In 1733, Peshwa Bajirao of the Maratha Empire, he launched a campaign against the Siddhis of Zanjira. This is the extra information which I want to give you. Actually here the Bajirao Peshwa, he forces, however, he did not take Zanjira fort, though they captured much of the surrounding area. A favorable treaty gave the Marathas indirect control over the virtually all of the Siddhi land. Now while the Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, he was planning to crush Siddhi, to destroy Siddhi forever, the Mughals army, they were marching towards the Swaraj. And it would have been unwise to face two enemies on a different front. So there were two enemies front of the Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj. At one side there was the Siddhi, another side there was the Mughal. Hence Maratha army stopped chasing Siddhi, and finally the Maratha army, they stopped to chase Siddhi because the Swarajya, it was more important in their point of view, and that's why they did stop chasing Siddhi. Now here you can see that there was the siege of Janjira in 1682, was a military conflict between the Mughals and the Maratha, and it was fought between the Maratha Empire, which was led by Sambhaji Maharaj, and Siddhi of Janjira, allies of the Mughals Empire. So the Maratha Emperor Sambhaji personally besieged the fort of Janjira in 1682 to stop Siddhi's intrusions into Maratha. Intrusions means enter with the disruptive or the adverse effect. So here the Maratha, they didn't want to allow Siddhis to enter into their area, and that's why they wanted to stop them territories and to capture the strategically important fort of Janjira. So in the relationship between the Siddhi and the Maratha Empire, this is the main event which happened between the Siddhi and the Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj. After Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj and Maharani Tarabai were continuously engaged in combating Aurangzeb. So Tarabai, she was a regent of the Maratha Empire. She was the queen of Chhatrapati Rajaram Bhosle. She was the daughter-in-law of empire's founder Shivaji and mother of Shivaji too. So Tarabai, as a regent, she took charge of the war against Aurangzeb's forces. Tarabai was killed in cavalry, means the person who fought on horseback movement and made strategic movements herself during wars. She personally led the war and continued the fight against the Mughal. A truce was offered to the Mughals in such a way that it was promptly rejected by the Mughals and emperor, and Tarabai she continued the Maratha resistance. Rajaram Bhosle, he was the younger son of Maratha ruler Shivaji Maharaj and half brother of Sambhaji. He took over the Maratha Empire as its third Chhatrapati after his brother's death at the hands of Aurangzeb in 1689. His 11 years reign was marked with the constant struggle against the Mughal. So here the Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj and Maharani Tarabai, they were continuously fighting with the Aurangzeb, and that's why they could not pay more attention towards the other enemies. Next great Maratha warrior is Srimanta Chimaji Appa, who was the son of Balaji Vishwanath Bhatt and the younger brother of Bajirao Peshwa of Maratha Empire. He was an able military commander who liberated the western coast of India from Portuguese rule. The high water mark of his career was the capture of Vasai Fort. Two lectures before we have discussed about that, from the Portuguese in a hard fought battle. He was known to run strategy for the Maratha Empire and was known to plan all the battles of Bajirao. During the times of Bajirao Peshwa I, one more time the Marathas they became active against Siddhi. So Chimaji Appa, who was the younger brother of Bajirao Peshwa first, he declared the war against Siddhi and finally he won it. It was a great victory. A treaty was signed by the Marathas and Siddhi, and the Siddhi they accepted a feudality status under the Marathas. So here you can see the Bajirao Peshwa first. Now last but not the least, the relationship between the Afghans and the Maratha Empire. In the first half of the 18th century, the mighty Mughals empire, they had already lost its glory. Now the Mughals and their rule, it was only limited towards Delhi, Agra and Punjab. In the year 1748, witnessed the first invasion of India by the Ahmad Shah Abdali, the king of Afghans. And this king, he was defeated at Sirhind by Shahzada Ahmad Shah, the elder son of the emperor. So in 1751, Abdali, who was Abdali? Abdali was the king of Afghans. So he one more time he entered in India. Now this time the Mughal emperor they ceded the province of Lahore and Multan to Abdali in order to avoid war. So this time the Mughals they offered their area of Lahore and Multan to king because they didn't want war. In 1752 the Marathas and the Mughals they arrived at an agreement. So on the deathbed of Aurangzeb, Marathas swore to protect the Mughals. In 1752 they signed a treaty to protect them. Panipat war battle happened because of that treaty. British won because of that treaty. Maratha Empire died because of that treaty. These Marathas could have easily got Ayodhya and Varanasi and Allahabad back, but they did not, because they were getting the Chauth from Oudh. Now, according to that agreement which was happened between the Marathas and Mughal, Marathas, they accepted the responsibility to defend North India, especially the area which was the Mughal, which was under the Mughal dominions. In return, the Mughal emperor, they granted the right to collect Chotai from Rohili Khanda to Marathas, and they also ceded the parts of some of the Mughal provinces. So this was the treaty between the Mughals and the Marathas. Now in 1757, okay, now in 1757, again one more time, Abdali, let me remember you that Abdali, he was the king of Afghan. So one more time, third time actually, he again attacked on India, and he returned to Afghanistan after stealing things, causing damage the region around Delhi and Maratha. Now this time the Maratha army, they marched from Pune under the leadership of Raghunath Rao Peshwa. But before they could reach Delhi, Abdali had already gone back. Marathas took charge at Delhi and normalized the situation there. Maratha and Sikhs together, they planned a campaign to get back Punjab, which was held by Abdali. And finally they conquered the Sirhind province and then Lahore. From there the Maratha army reached Attock. In the year 1759, one more time Abdali, he entered back fourth time in India. Dattaji and Jankoji Shinde, the Maratha nobles, they resisted his advance. They tried to stop him. However, Abdali marched with a great speed and with a great strength, and he finally conquered Punjab in few time. Dattaji Shinde, he fell on a battlefield. Abdali took complete hold of Delhi. So finally the Abdali, he got Delhi. With an intention to oust the Afghans permanently, the Maratha army marched out from Pune under the leadership of Sadashiv Rao Bhau Peshwa and Vishwas Rao Peshwa. On 14th January 1761, the Maratha army and Abdali confronted each other at Panipat. So here is the Panipat battle. So always we say that Vishwas Panipatच्या युद्धात गेला. Okay, so from this concept, from this thing, the concept has been arrived that Sadashiv Rao Bhau Peshwa and Vishwas Rao Peshwa, both they were there in the battle on 14 January 1761. Maratha army and the Abdali from the Afghanistan, they came front of each other at Panipat. In that area, Panipat is the name of the area on the banks of river Yamuna. Okay, and the war between them is known as the third battle of Panipat. Now here I want to give you the information about the battle of Panipat. So the third battle, which happened January 14, 1761, ended the Maratha attempt to succeed the Mughals as rulers of India and marked the virtual end of the Mughal Empire. The Maratha army under the Bhau Sahib, uncle of Peshwa, was trapped and destroyed by the Afghans, which was that time the chief was Ahmad Shah. Following the decline of the Mughal Empire after the death of Emperor Aurangzeb, Maratha confederacy had expanded rapidly, threatening the Afghans Durrani Empire ruled by Ahmad Durrani. Ahmad declared jihad and launched a campaign that captured large parts of Punjab. The Marathas responded by raising a large army under the command of Sadashiv Rao Bhau and recaptured Delhi. Ahmad's campaign was aimed at starving the Maratha army of its supplies. At the same time, he led an army of 40,000 into the south to the trap the Maratha army in the Punjab. Cut off and starving, Bhau decided to break Ahmad's blockade, swapping the two armies to face off at Panipat. The former attempted to pulverize the latter's army with the massive artillery bombardment and then utilize his superiority in numbers to break the Durrani blockade and move south in a defensive posture. However, he was undermined by the rivalries within his ranks and the need to protect many civilians. Durrani launched a surprise attack before the artillery had inflicted serious damage and Bhau's nephews were killed. He was Vishwas Rao. The Maratha commander entered the battle to recover his nephew's body, but his troops thought him dead and their morale plummeted. The smaller Durrani army took advantage and routed them. Bhau escaped to die some time later, but the Maratha army had been destroyed and the unity of the empire was broken. This began 40 years of anarchy in the northwestern India and cleared the way for later British supremacy. So that's why it was a message in code language. It was sent to Pune, the loss, and it was said like 2 precious pearls fell, 27 gold coins were lost, and there is no count to loss of a silver and copper coins. So why it was says like that? 2 precious pearls fell. 2 precious pearls means 2 Maratha warrior, 2 great Maratha warriors like Sadashiv Rao Bhau Peshwa and Vishwas Rao Peshwa. Both they were killed at the time of Panipat war. 27 gold coins means so many Marathas, 27 more Marathas, they lost their life, as well as there is no count to loss of silver and copper coins, means there are so many Maulas were there, and that's why there is no count for those loss. But here we can say that the Maratha on the battleground of the Panipat, they fought with their all efforts, with their dedication, which can be described as India for the Indians. It was not an easy task for Abdali to rule Delhi, and he soon returned home. So after the Panipat war, he ruled for some years and afterwards he went back to his home country. The Marathas' opposition was so fierce that neither Abdali nor his successor ever returned to India. But the disappointing thing was the British, they could establish their supremacy in India after this Panipat war, once the Maratha rule declined in 19th century. However, Indians fought against the British supremacy. Besides, they also had to fight against many internal evil practices and customs that were prevalent in Indian society. Okay, so this was the lesson. Now here we had finished with our lesson. Now in the next lesson we are going to learn about the social and the religious reforms in India. Again, Tuesday we have live session, so that time if you have any query you can ask to me. Here is the brief information about the Battle of Panipat, and one more video link I am going to give you with this video link, so you can check it that. Thank you and have a nice day.